Good day to you, and welcome to all first-time listeners to this podcast. My name is Katuk. The name of this podcast is Catch It, A New Perception. For all first-time listeners, and for anyone listening again, please take the time to be kind to yourself today. To be generous with yourself today. To show yourself self-love. Everything that you need to make today another great day. Do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they might mean to you. I say that because spiritual terms mean many different things to many different people. Sometimes people may have a problem with the term spiritual terms, even though in my world, love is a spiritual term. Dignity, compassion, open-mindedness, because they affect my spirit. My spirit is a concern for me today. I want to do it well. I want to do my spirit well. I want to be able to respect that spirit. So spiritual terms may mean something different to me than it does to you. And I think that as we move forward, we will find that the more open-minded we are, the more honest we are with ourselves, that these spiritual terms will change. We don't know what they mean to someone else, and we don't necessarily need to. Sometimes, when we're sharing with others, when we're listening to others, when we're speaking with others, we may need to know what some of these spiritual terms mean to them. This is what's important in the world, is that I learn to be compassionate. I like the idea of what I'm learning as I do this podcast. The conversations I have with other people, some of them maybe have to do with some of the content of this podcast, and sometimes it may have something to do with anything else in the world other than this podcast. And I may have gotten connected to someone because they reached out to me because of the content of this. And then we never come back to this through conversation. We only speak of other things. And chances are there's a common thread in what we speak of to what's in this podcast. Moving forward, we're going to continue to change. We're going to continue to keep the same thread. We're going to learn from each other. I have come to believe that the gift of open-mindedness is what gives value and dignity to my life. It is this that I have to share. And it grows as it is shared. So the more I share something, the more it grows inside of me. When I share disdain or resentment, it will grow inside of me. When I share love, dignity, hope, compassion, it will grow inside of me. So what we speak of, what we think of, the things we give energy to is what will grow inside of us. It's what will expand us. It's what will be us. We will be what we speak of. In the past, I've spoke about the idea of speaking it into existence. I've talked about open-mindedness and many different topics that all come back to this same thing. That fundamental idea of love is deep down inside of each man, woman, and child. It grows when we share it. Try this for a while. To get out of the negative thinking, for lack of a better term, or the disdain, whatever terminology you may use for those uncomfortable and negative disdain feelings or thoughts, and flip the script again. We begin to say the opposite of what we're thinking when we're thinking with disdain or negativity. We say the opposite. We share that with someone else. And now it comes back to us. It comes back to us from them. It comes back to us because we think about the things that we just said, and now that begins to ring in our head, and now we have a new mantra. Now we have a new thought. If we're going to stay in a morbid reflection, we will stay in a morbid reflection. I think about when my father passed. I was thinking about this earlier today. The day that my father returned to the spirit world, I went to work that evening. I had a fair amount of grieving before that. He was late in life, and we knew it. He was living with stage 4 cancer. And he made a decision to do certain things and made decisions to not do certain things. And the last week of his life, I was able to sit with him. As much as the family did, he was the patriarch of our family. And I loved my father very much. I love my father very much still today. And I was able to shed some tears, and I've been able to shed some tears since then, which is really beautiful. It's a really good thing for me. And the day that he passed, I was able to view his body after he had left. And I was able to go share a meal with a little bit of extended family, mostly pretty close family. And then I was able to go to work that evening. So mourning is different for different people. Most people I know, some people maybe weren't even as close to one of their parents the day they passed. There's no way they could go to work. They wouldn't be able to sustain well and show up good for the guests or for other employees or even for themselves. For me, that passing is an honor. It's an honor when someone I love passes. It's an honor when one of my brothers or sisters of four-legged creatures that I have in my life pass. It's an honor to be able to see it and be part of it and know that I love them. To know that they love me. I had one, what people would refer to as a pet, in my life. They showed me love differently than any other. It was incredible. Very short time I spent with this little brother of mine. And very incredible love shared. So I look at the day that my father left, and I think about how that affected me differently than how other people are affected. Life is just like that. You can allow it to either tear you down, or I could be proud that I was able to spend the last week of his life with him. That was incredible. I'm really glad that his wife called and said, you know, your dad's going to the hospital and he's not leaving. I grabbed a bag and I drove hours to where my father was at. Sat with him as much as I could every day for the next week, till he took his last breath. And through that process, I was able to thank him. I was able to take him to Chanupa and say a few words with him in front of the family. Say goodbye to him, ask him to leave, and do all of the things that I needed to do to reconcile my relationship with my father at the end. So when he actually took his last breath and he got to return to the spirit world, I got to go to work. I have the privilege of going to work. You've probably heard me say that many times on this podcast. I don't have to work. I get to work. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to show up good. I haven't always been able to do that. I know I have much to learn. And I'm not saying that when the next person that's close to me passes, that I would be able to go to work that night. I'm not claiming I could do that. I'm saying I have done that. Now, could I do that in the future? Possibly. I need to be able to find a balance within life. Just because I've done it in the past, I can't say, I can do that. That's easy. And just because I haven't done it doesn't mean that I can't do it. I need and want a balance, a centering point where I have confidence without arrogance, where I know that I can do something with a good heart, without acting like I'm something special in the sense that I'm better than someone. I never want to act like that. And I want to always make sure that other people feel like they're special. Because they are. Each one of us is a unique manifestation of Creator. And we are by far more similar than we are different. I need to concern myself with my similarities to other people and how I get connected to them. The connectiveness matters. Do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they might mean to you. You heard me say this earlier today. At the beginning of this podcast, I started with this. Think about that. Do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they might mean to you. What I'm saying is the same thing I've said in almost 100 episodes of this podcast. And that is, use the terminology that works for you. Do not get caught up in the words. Find the spirit of what's being said. I ask you to do this so that you can live with peace, love, dignity, respect, compassion. The things that will further you to further your life. The things that will further you in the relationships that you have of the people that are close to you and the people that are going to be close to you. The people that you love and the people that love you. And all of those brothers and sisters that you love. The four-legged, the winged ones, the ones that swim and crawl. All of them. I believe, in my mind, in my spiritual belief, that we are all connected. Mitake Oyase. I believe in it. All of my relations. All of Mother Earth, Grandfather Sky, we are all connected. It is one ment. I'm not asking you to believe like I believe. I'm asking you to find a way that works for you, to walk with it in a good way, to share it with others in a good way. And I am asking you to walk with a good heart today. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Mitake Oyase, Doksha Oke.